Greetings, my fellow gamers! Thanks for tuning in, you're watching Rexx't, and welcome to this here special video in regards of a recent update done on Twitter by a Blizzard official, saying that Gnome Hunters is becoming playable in World of Warcraft Legion. Now, this was just recently updated and announced on a Twitter account feed, and I will link the Twitter thing in the description down below, so you can check it out if you don't trust me or believe me. Trust me, I didn't believe myself when I first saw it, but anyway. It is now official, gnomes can play hunters in Legion, and when this firstly was announced, parts of the World of Warcraft community completely lost their shit. They were fuming, they were furious, they were angry. Like, how the heck could gnomes play hunters? Other parts of the WoW community jizzed their pants, and are still jizzing some of them actually, being a bit overjoyed by the factum of that gnomes can finally play hunters. And then there's the last part of the community, a greater deal of the community, who really doesn't give a shit. But anyway, I'm main a hunter, so I feel that I should bring this up as a topic to discuss, a topic to talk about. Because over the years, much like Tor and Rogues, Gnome Hunters has been a running gag. It's been like this thing we have been laughing about, like, oh, I imagine seeing a Gnome Hunter, and suddenly it becomes reality. And ever since Gnome Hunters became a running theme, a running joke, there's been a couple of reasons why people have said that, well, this is why gnomes should be allowed to play hunters, and others have said this is why gnomes shouldn't be allowed to play hunters. Now, I personally am going to sum up 3 reasons as to why people think gnomes shouldn't play hunters, and 3 reasons as to why people think that gnomes should play hunters. Now, I personally have no, like, interference, quarrels with any of these whys or whys not. I'm just listing up a few of them, sharing a bit of my personal opinion with them, but these aren't opinions which I have made up myself. These are things I've seen on forum posts, in-game chats, even some of my friends has been bringing up some of this over the course of the years going by. So, I thought it best to start out with, why not? Why should we not see Gnome Hunters in this here game? Now, some people say that Gnomes just doesn't have the physique to play hunters. I mean, like, oh, it's gotta be tough and hard to, hold back the gun for the recoil or whatever, and it's mostly likely difficult, pull the bowstring all the time and, reload the crossbow all the time, etc., etc. No. Look at this, I'm playing a gnome warrior right now. You think warriors are weak? All of this little shrimp here, this little midget son of a something, although he seems like a wuss, I don't really think he is. So, people trying to say that Gnomes just doesn't have the physique to play a hunter, I can see what you're getting at, because I understand what you're, like, going towards, because, yes, Gnomes aren't the most macho race out there, but still, I don't think it should be hard for Gnomes to play hunters in regards of their physique if they can play warriors. I mean, there's a lot more strength into playing a warrior than there is to playing a hunter. So those of you bringing up that as an excuse to why it shouldn't happen, I see what you're getting at, but at the same point, I really can't get behind it. A second reason as to why people think that gnomes shouldn't play hunters is the common and always used, it's just too stupid. Now, this is an excuse used everywhere, all day, every day, and I personally have nothing to add to this. I don't like to get behind people excusing something but it's just too stupid. If you had a proper reason to why it was stupid, then sure, I would be cool with it. I would be cool. Like, personally, when I first heard that gnomes could play hunters, I went a bit like, no, you ain't serious, because it seems a bit dumb, yeah. But to use the excuse that it shouldn't happen because it's just stupid, no, not really, not really. That just isn't a valid excuse. Now, I feel that I should get that out there, that using the reason because it's stupid, it's not a valid reason. Some things might just be a bit too stupid, but it's not a valid reason as to why not. Especially in regards to what we're talking about here, gnomes being able to play hunters. Now, a last reason as to why people think that gnomes shouldn't be allowed to play hunters is partially because of that they don't have any prehistory with huntsmanship. Like, for instance, say, night elves can play druids because they've dabbed into druidism, orcs can be shamans because they've dabbed into shamanism, and so on. And some people go on and say that gnomes haven't dabbed into the art of that being a huntsman, and thus it's a bit ridiculous for them to play hunters. Now keep in mind, we're playing a game that expands. This is a game that envelops as we go on. This game isn't standing still. It's expanding. It's going on. It's a timeline we're playing in and taking part of. So the classes and races are developing. We saw that with the Cataclysm. That we had new class and race combinations added, to some people's joy, other people's disjoy. And although some of the class/race combinations that it was added in Cataclysm is a bit of a mystery to me, then I can also get behind some of them. And people trying to tell me that gnomes just doesn't have the history to dab into huntsmanship and be hunters, don't say that. Don't say that. Let's bring up a few examples, like for instance, because there's still people asking questions regarding what happened during the Cataclysm. So, dwarves being able to play shamans and warlocks. Why is that? Well, during the Cataclysm, Council of the Three Hammers came together, meaning that Dark Iron Dwarves and Wildhammer Dwarves started penning a bit more into the Alliance side. Wildhammer Dwarves, having studied shamanism, meant that we can now play shamans as dwarves of the Alliance, and Dark Iron Warlocks, having dabbed into dark arts and shadow magic of that of warlocks, meant that we can now play dwarf warlocks. Now, some people think that this is completely fine. Others meant that, well, if we were supposed to have that added, we should have, like, the tattoo skin textures for the dwarves added for Wildhammers, and we should have the dark skin and red eyes for the Dark Iron Dwarves. I see what you're getting at, but then we would have a bunch of Dark Iron Dwarf Paladins, a bunch of Wildhammer tattooed Warlocks, and it would be a bit silly again. But yeah, also, for Taurens, for instance, a lot of people lost their shit when it was announced that Taurens could play Paladins. Like, Tauren Paladins, Red Bull gives you wings. Screw that. Well, if you think about it, it's not all that stupid, because over the course of this game and its background lore story, not everything is explained in this game, of course, so you will have to read something up to properly get this. Taurens has this underclass in the RPG segment of the Warcraft history, which is called Sunwalkers. Sunwalkers are basically, following the red line, basically paladins. But instead of, needing to create an entire new class for the Taurens, they just gave Tauren the option to play paladins, as in for Tauren Sunwalkers. So when you play a Tauren Paladin, you're technically playing a Tauren Sunwalker. And so on, it went on and on. Now, for instance, there's a couple of the different compositions I can't really get behind, like, I'm not sure if trolls, have dabbed into druidism or dark arts of warlocks so much that they should be able to play the classes. I don't know the lore that much. You should probably go check out Novel 87 or something. I'm pretty sure he maybe has a video regarding it, or maybe will make one someday in the future, as to why they can play those different classes. I don't know that about trolls. But yeah, Tauren Paladins, Sunwalkers, Dwarf Shamans and Warlocks, Wildhammers and Dark Iron Dwarfs joining the Alliance, etc., etc. So, why shouldn't gnomes have been able to study and train huntsmanship? Because when you think about it, hunters isn't really that of a complex thing to be. Like, warriors, rogues, and hunters are pretty baseline in all MMORPG games. And I think it would take you a lot more time to master the art of druidism, dark arts of warlocks, or shamanism than it would for you to learn how to wield a gun and pull the string of a bow and reload a crossbow. Taming the beasts might be a bit of a bigger process, but I still think that gnomes could adapt to that over the years. I don't see why they shouldn't be capable of doing that. Oh, you just had to. Ugh. But so yeah. And when you think about it in the big picture, years have gone by. It's like 10 years now since World of Warcraft started up, and we've seen some new class and race compositions added. It proves that the classes and races are developing, they're going forward. So I think that Gnomes Hunters is a pretty legitimate thing. Like, who's not to say that there's a bunch of gnomes who train the arts of huntsmanship, and thus have become hunters? Those are the gnomes we're able to play as in Legion. Although a lot of people will still go behind and say that it's just not in the gnomes' history. I think that's a stupid excuse, because we can train, we can adapt, we can do it if we want to. So that's pretty much covering the main reasons as to why some people think that gnomes shouldn't be allowed to play hunters. Now, there's also a couple of reasons as to why people think they should be able to play hunters. Now, the one reason why people think they should is pretty much a counterpart of the previous why they shouldn't, is that gnomes have learned. They have learned. To master the arts of wielding a gun, crossbow, bow isn't really that hard, and gnomes are smart. There's no denying that. Gnomes are smart. And then some people might bring up that, oh, well, about beasts, what about a gnome controlling a devil's sword and so on? Well, gnomes are, they're still pretty intelligent. How do you know that they ain't feeding devil swords like snacks scented with orc and troll scent so that they will go hunt some horde scum and fuck them up instead of, eating its own master? Because I can see how devil swords might consider gnome nothing but a small midnight snack. But even so, gnomes are smart, they're intelligent, they can adapt. I'm pretty sure they've figured out a way to make sure that their beasts doesn't eat them in Legion. They aren't that stupid. They just ain't. So yeah, a part for why gnomes should be able to play hunters is that they have learned over the years. They have adapted and they have mastered the arts of huntsmanship and taming beasts, of course. Now, a secondary reason as to why gnomes should be able to play hunters is because imagine how awesome it is. Like, come on. I know I said that it's not a legit reason to say that something shouldn't be done because it's stupid, but it would be kind of cool, would it? Like, imagine yourself like you're in Warsome Gulch as a horde. You're this bloodthirsty orc warrior, Loke Tarogar, Blood Nunner, and all that shit. You're marching in, and suddenly you get hit in the knee with an arrow. At the other side of the field of Warsome Gulch, you see this tiny, short stack of shit. And he goes like, aha! Now you just used to be an adventurer. And then right next to him is this giant, badass devil sword whose name is Fluff. And then Fluff proceeds to walk up to you and eat your face out and rip your guts out, and you're just getting killed by this small stack of turd who wields a bow and controls a devil sword. I mean, like, how badass isn't that? So badassery. That's the second reason as to why I think we should have gnome hunters in this game. Well, not I, but yeah, I said I. I promised myself that I would not have any personal correlations with it, but I will get behind. I will really get behind the world. Gnome Hunters would have been awesome. I'm gonna get behind that. No questions asked. And then there's, of course, a third reason as to why some people think that gnomes should be allowed to play hunters. Is mainly because we want more race/class combinations in this game. Now, I think Blizzard added a bit too many with Cataclysm, because we're starting to run out of possibilities. I mean, like, if we ever see human or dwarf druids or, you know, undead paladins or some shit. Well, undead paladins wouldn't be that stupid, but you catch my drift. I think that we're running low on new class/race compositions to play, and although Blizzard might add some more races or classes in the future of this game, they would still need to, like, go back, look over what they have, and see what they can add. And amongst all the things they currently have available, I don't think, and the rest of the community agrees, that Gnome Hunters isn't that far off. I keep saying a lot of although I promise it shouldn't be me, it should be the community here. I'm so sorry, World of Warcraft community, I'm so sorry. But so yeah, that's a bit of a short summary up stack there as to why and why nots of why Gnome Hunters should be part of the game. Oh boy, I keep swallowing my tongue a lot here. So, do you have any other reasons as to why you think that gnomes shouldn't be allowed to play hunters? Or why they most definitely should be allowed, should be allowed to play hunters? I suggest that you drop them down in the comment section down below. Try to not start a war, but if you have any personal opinions you feel that should be brought forward regarding the gnome hunter subject, then feel free to share them. I like watching other people's opinions. I also like judging them. But yeah, I like watching them as well. I personally think that Gnome Hunters will be a good addition. Regardless of many people saying that it's just dumb, they wouldn't be capable of doing it, and it doesn't match their history, I am a lot more for the reasons of that. It's awesome. We want more class and race combinations in this game, and I, for one, really think that gnomes have been able to train over the years to become hunters. It's an expanding and evolving. I think evolving is the word. It's an evolving game, everyone. And keep in mind, although everything's said and done, it's still just a game. There's no reason to start killing over this. There's no reason to start wars over this. It is still just a game. But yeah, I hope that answers and sheds some light upon a couple of things in regards of Gnome Hunters, as to people who says that it's just too stupid knows that they now need to back down, People saying that Gnomes doesn't have the physique for it needs to consider that we already have Gnome Warriors, which requires a lot more strength. People saying that it just doesn't match up because they don't have the background story for huntsmanship, keep in mind they can have adapted to it. And for those of you who says yes, it should happen, you've now gotten a bit of a covered, at least personally from me, maining a hunter and so on. As to that, it should be, oh, I should shoot these things. As for that, it should be added because we want more race/class combinations. It should be added because it would be awesome to kick some ass on a gnome hunter. And of course, it should be added because I think, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other agrees with me as far as I've seen around, that gnomes have been able to adapt to huntsmanship over the years. Now again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and that's pretty much it in regards of Gnome Hunters. I hope you guys will be playing in Legion. I sure as hell will. And until next time, everyone, have a good one.